What is going on, guys? This is Kai. We're back with another video. Today I'm gonna be showcasing a deck profile of a certain archetype that is quite some time. It was very popular back in 2017, 2016, give or take whichever is here. I forgot which it is. And that is True Draco with the return of Masterpiece, the True Draco Slayer. And if you guys don't know what this archetype does, it's basically a tribute summon archetype. It's more like a Monarch, but without a lot of special summons and without the stun part. And people might thinking that this deck is similar to stun deck like runic stuns, like anti-meta beatdown stuns, etc. Well, this is almost like similar but not that kind of playstyle. I'll explain what this deck does if you're new in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like some of my teammates and my friends, they're joined only during late 2017 Arc-5 eras and don't know what this deck does. I'll briefly explain. So without further ado, let's get into the profile. This is some of the fan and player favorite decks of all time, and also a friend of mine got fourth place at our locals ranking tournaments with this particular deck. This is not the same list as he was using it. I would add a little twist and I'll explain why the choices. So first off is the Masterpiece. Glad this card is already back in the actions, and it was banned before, now is being brought back to one. For you don't know what this card does, is a worm type, level 8, like attribute 2950 beat sticks. And if you want to tribute summon this monster, you can use continuous traps and spells as a tribute instead. And this card is unaffected by card effects based on the type of card it tributes. So you tribute spells and traps to summon it out, you're unaffected by spell traps. If you tribute monster and spells, he unaffected by monster and spells. And either player turn quick effect, you can banish a continuous spell and trap from the graveyard to target one card on the field and destroy it. So more floodgates means you get more bullets for this guy to pop. And with the field spell is a 3250 beat sticks, which is hard to deal with, and also not once per turn pop, unaffected by a bunch of things. So yeah. And for the other monsters, we have the 3 Dynamite K, 1 Minister H, and 2 Majesty M's. So these are the other monsters of True Draco has, and they have the similars as the Masterpiece, is that you can tribute spell traps, continuous spell traps as tribute summons instead. And so instead of tributing monster, you can tribute your continuous spell traps like the Floodgates we know nowadays. And they all share the similar effects. When a card effect or an effect is activated, in response they chain link 2s. This can take a True Draco continuous trap, either add it to hand or place it face out on the field. And this takes spells, and this take monsters. Well, the monster part, it doesn't place on the field or special summon to the field, it just add the monsters to hand. So these are your grinding resources. Whenever your opponent activates anything, these will respond. You take a trap, take a spell, and take a monsters. So you keep grinding out, keep taking out stuff from the deck and make them interact with your opponents. This card before was limited, if I'm not mistaken, because taking trap and activated straight from the deck is really absurd in my opinion. Not to mention the trap in these decks are very, very crazy. And also I forgot to mention, for this deck, True Draco is a kind of very budget deck to play in here. As you can see, all of these cards are common, and only Masterpiece is super rare. And also the spell trap as well. I'll get to the spell trap when we talk about. So that's all the monsters you need for True Dracos. Only like 7. I see people like play 6 or even 5. And different perspective view. Yeah, this I don't want to play more because activating spells during your opponent's turn doesn't do anything, while adding monsters and traps makes you have more refined like interactive resources. So I'll get to there when we have the traps. And the other 2 monsters I play is Amano Iwato. This is the card tag I want to use to prevent any interaction when I draws or my opponent demise, like draw a Lockbird. I want to prevent Ash. I want to like go second. I want to have something to pop them without they responding. So this is the card I play. So yeah, that's it. That's it for the monsters. Just 9 monsters, no hand traps, because this deck doesn't play hand traps. You play Demise, you can't play hand traps. So, and also, which is the reason why this deck is budget, you skip the hand trap part. And yeah, now let's go for the spells. First, for the power spells, we have the 3 Demise. This is the best card of the deck. You draw 3, and you have a lot of recycles of the deck, so you have ways to draw, so you want to dig your deck deeper. And speaking of deck deeper, we have 3 dualities as well. Like I said, you tribute summons, you don't special summon that often, so you don't even special summon at all at some point, so you can play duality. And another 2 power spells is 2 desires, because you play so less monsters that in the point you get all monsters like each in your hand or in your visible areas, you can just activate desires. Is fine, because most of your decks is just either floodgates or these. You don't want to see that more often. You want to see like power pieces, so that this is how you play. And it's also the reason why I play Amano Iwato, because you have a lot of draw and search engines. You're vulnerable yourself into Ash, draws, and a lot of things, especially draws, because if you don't like prevent your opponents from interacting after you duality or either of these, and your opponent activate draws, half of these are getting shut down. You have to wait for next turn. And this deck doesn't have like full combo armor negates, that kind of big board. So draw means you have to stop your turn. You can't do it. You can't do much except for set up during your opponent's turns, which is too late. And that is why you need this while making sure they are activate successfully. And 1 Ash is not enough, because you have a lot of search engines. And speaking of search engines, we have terraformings and 3 diagram. Diagram is insane in the deck. If you guys don't know what diagram does, is face up, all your true Draco monsters gain 300 attack and defense. And when this guy is face on the field, tribute summoned true Draco monsters cannot be destroyed by battle once. So if all aware, all of these are tribute summons. So any monsters that tribute summons, they cannot be destroyed by battle once and gain 300. So the smallest monster, which is Majesty Majesty M, is 2600 and cannot be destroyed by battle once, means you have to detect them twice. And not to mention, if you don't have that big of a monster as a big state to be through the monsters, you need to like link summon or like additional activation summons in order to climb to higher attacks. And by doing so, you're triggering their effects to let me add a card. So even before they send to the grave, I get to search. And also the third effect, once per turn, during the main phase, you activate this effect. If you do, you can destroy 1 other card from your hand or field and search a true Draco card from deck to your hand. And this is the reason why you get to search a lot. These 8 cards are search. These are still search, and all these are true Draco cards. And the field itself is not true Draco card. It's a Dragonic diagram. It's not true Draco card, so you can't field spell, search spell. So yeah, also a really funny interaction about this card. It says when this card you can activate during the main phase. So if you main phase like activate this as chain in 1, if you chain to something like maybe Call by the Grave or Cosmic Cyclones, during resolve the call by or Cosmic Cyclone is still on the field. So during chain 1 resolve, you can destroy that particular card in order to search, which is kind of insane. And also maybe the reason why this card is limited back in the days. And now for the true Draco spells, the Heritage, Revive, and Ephraim. And I'll explain what this card does. I forgot the name. I only remember the Japanese name and English name. I played this back when I was like 16 years old. I don't even know what the name is called in English, so I'm just speaking them in Japanese. So I explain what all this card do. And for the spells is during the main phase, you may activate this effect. If you do, immediately resolve, you tribute summon a true Draco monsters. And there are additional tribute summons, so you can tribute summon, you can normal summons, and then after that you can use this to activate this effect. Immediately resolves, you can tribute summons, so you gain yourself additional summons. And for the spells, if they are sent to the graveyard, they can target one spell straight on the field and destroy it. So this is how you deal with Floodgates in these decks. And the first effect is quite different. For this, you can target 3 True Draco cards from your graveyard, shuffle them back to the deck. If you do, draw cards. So this is how your incursions. And for this, you can activate this during the main phase. during this turn, for each type of true Draco card is sent from field to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. So with the combo is, let's say you have a continuous traps, you tribute summon for a true Draco monsters, and then you activate this. So you can activate the draw. Since you send one type, if you send spell and traps on the field to the graveyard, you get to draw 2, and it's a once per turn. So this is how you get more draws. Yes, more draw. After this, you still get the draws. And not to mention the field spells, you can destroy the true Dragon monster from the field, and then you get to search, and then there's another draw. So you can accumulate 3 types, and then you draw. So that's all for the power spells. And for the trap cards is, for this is a revive. So once per turn, you can search summon one true Dragon monster from the graveyard. But after this effect resolves, you cannot search summon monster anymore. So it doesn't matter. So that's why I say it doesn't special that much, because the only special summon is these cards. And this is, you can target one true Draco card on the field. If you do destroy it, half your opponent's monsters attack defense, which is forever. It doesn't have until end of turn. It's half all your opponent's face-up monsters. So for the spells, is tribute summon during your own turn. You get immediately after you resolve, you tribute summons. For trap cards, is activate during your opponent's turn, and immediately after this card resolve, you tribute summon the monsters. So, and for the traps, when it's sent to the graveyard, it pops some monsters on the field. So this is your interactions. You flip this, and then you get to revive, you tribute summons, immediately resolve, tribute this, summon the monsters, and then this get to pop a card. And if opponent responds after you tribute summon, after it targets, if opponent responds, you have the monsters on the field, it triggers, it set another one. This is how you do. And for some of the people that don't know, this is a quite interesting interactions. When this card says destroy one face-up card on the field, face-up 3 Draco on the field, if you do half all the monsters effect, and because it consists of monsters attacks, increases, and defense, so you can activate this during the damage steps. So like for example, if this is your monsters and your opponents have a blue eyes white dragon attack to this, and during the damage step you can activate these effects, destroy the battling monsters through Draco and half your opponent's monsters attack. And because the monster is gone during the damage step, so your opponent can't replay the battle anymore, so they can't redirect the attacks into direct attacks, so that is considered battle, so that doesn't deal you any damage. So yeah, it's a really interesting interactions. I know back in the days, I'm not sure it's still legal now, but I believe it is. So yeah, that's all for the True Draco stuff. And now for the Floodgate stuff, it's the Monarch Interruptions. So this card says, if you don't have a extra deck cards on your extra decks, of course, and if you have a tribute summon monsters on the field, you can automatically activate these cards. When this card is face out on the field, other than tribute summon monsters, can't activate their monsters when they face out on the field. Not can't activate, just effect negated. It's like skill drains, but only applies if you have a tribute summon monster. So if you don't have an extra deck and they have a tribute summon monsters, then you can activate these cards. Then it's only legal to activate. It's a skill drains, but it doesn't affect yours. It only affects opponents if you have tribute summon monsters, which is better than skill drain, because skill drains negates everything and you have to pay 1,000 life points. So if you went 2 times, it's not fair. And also the second effect is during the end phase, if you do not control a tribute summon monster, send this card to the graveyard. So it doesn't matter. So the thing is, if you somehow lost your tribute summon monsters, like I mentioned, your True Draco traps can tribute summon during your opponent's turn. You can activate the traps immediately after that card resolve. You can tribute summon using these cards as tribute summon. So if you feel like you can't survive the resources, you can just tribute summon in this way. But mostly I wouldn't do that, because after you resolve your tribute summon, you have a tribute summon monster on the field, and this is alive again. So yeah, 3 Monarch Great Productions, one of the best skill drains. And also this is how we deal with board breakers, deal with evenly, etc. The Snake Deity Apophis. So what this card does is, during either player's turns, when the card is activated, if you do, it becomes a normal monsters and becomes a trap monsters. And for each face-up trap you control, it negates that number of cards under the end of turns. So if opponent activates, let's say Feather Duster and Chaining 1, you can Chainlink 2 Apophis, and then Chainlink 3, let's say the eruptions or any of the continuous trap you have, and then after resolve training 3, resolve training 2s to summon it out, and you have one continuous trap, so you can negate the chain ones for the duster. It's like droplets, so after resolve it only negates the face of card fuse. And also it's not once per turn, so you have multiple extra bodies, and you don't want it, you just treat with summon it for just because. And the other floodgates is summon limits and rivalry of warlords. I'm not playing skill drain in a main deck because I don't want to lose the time. And also skill drain just clog myself as well if my masterpiece is tribute summon using monsters and spells, because I want to prevent like droplet or anything, and it might skill drain my own masterpiece for the pub, which is not that good. So that's why I choose summon limit and rival warlords. So for summon limit, you only summon twice during your opponent's turn, maximum 3 times. So yeah, that's why I play this. That's all for the main deck. 40 cards, no extra decks because I play Great Reductions. And now for the side decks I haven't sleeved it yet because we're still on the testing phase, so I'm just basically explaining my choice. So the first one is the Dark Ruler No More. I wanted to break boards, so sometimes I don't want to play the Amano Iwato because like a lot of times I feel like go second, you don't want to waste your summon for that. So you want you to clear it and then use your normal summons for the tribute for True Dracos, tribute trap, pop monsters to attack 1, and then etc etc. By doing so with Dark Ruler is better if you're going second because you have a lot of things to less worry about, so that's why I play this. This could be Cosmic Cyclone as well, or Dropless, or whichever your favorites. So I choose this because it's just better. You can grind more. It doesn't matter if your opponent takes 0 damage, you can grind. This deck can grind. And one of the best card to deal with the format right now is Stormforth Monarchs. This guy is amazing. You can activate the draw phase if to avoid getting anti-spell fragrance, because I thought that opponent would have anti-spell against True Draco, especially they go in second because they have a lot of normal spells, and this help dodge it and also destroys Razor, because your Razor's Axis monster can prevent destroy by detaching a material, but if you activate this during draw phase, they have no response, and during the main phase you can just tribute that Razor monster to summon your monsters, which is really strong. And also, not to mention it's a quick spell, so that's why it is once per turn, but give your take. And also during this turn you can special summon from the Astral deck, doesn't matter, you don't have Astral deck anyway. And for going first to prevent draw, because that doesn't scare above maxis, maybe Mochami, but yeah, maybe Mochami is the only problem. So draw is more hurtful in my opinion. Mochamis you can just don't summon, or just summon once and then just call it a day. And to prevent draw, I play the Dimension Fissures, and also against certain decks like Snake Eyes, Fire Kings, Voiceless Forest, etc, because you don't want to interact them too much in the graveyard. It's fine if your monster is getting banished because you only summon like once or twice in the monsters, and you have like 8 monsters in the deck. 7 monsters, my bad. Yeah, 7 monsters. If the stuff is corrected, you can just have your monsters, and then if your opponent like wanted to clear, they have to clear this first. But in the meantime, if they activate something to clear this, you have your True Dracos to response and add a card. So you forcing opponents to clear this in order for them to combo, except it's Malice. Of course, we don't side this against Malice. So yeah, that's why I play the Fissures, because it is still one of the floodgates that opponents had hard time to deal with. And more ways to prevent lightning storms, dusters, and even image. Solemn Judgment, you have to play it, and this together with the Snake Deity Apophis. So total of 6 ways to negate the evenly and dusters. And also one more ways to prevent dusters and lightning storms: anti-spell fragrance. It may be brick to yourself because yes, you play a lot of spells. What happened if you draw it later on? If you had anti-spell fragrance, it doesn't matter. You use your True Draco, monsters to tribute these as to summons, and then you're free for anti-spells. So and your opponent set their spells to it for the next turn, you can clear it off. So that's why 3 anti-spells. And the last card I play is 1 Skill Drain. The Skill Drain is just because for the niche moment. This could be something else. This could be Nibiru. This could be any other stuff you want, but it's just my choices. So guys, that's it for the deck profile. And yeah, I forgot to mention, if you guys didn't notice, for all the true Draco cards, they are all commons. These are commons, rares, commons, not to mention commons, and super rares. So which is why this deck is quite budget friendly in here. And if I count these in prices, the common cards mostly are in US, I think $2.50, $3 per piece. So all this is not expensive. So if you want to play like slow control decks but not too stun as in runic stance, this is the choice I would recommend. So that's all for the profile. Hope you guys enjoy it, and if you guys got anything to say or opinions, be sure to let me know down in comments below. I'll see you guys next time.